Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. So it was a long weekend last weekend, and I was at a market, so I was not at the farm for quite a few days. Left on the Friday and came back on the Monday afternoon. So a short week here in terms of farm life. I did prune my roses. They had finished flowering, basically had dropped all of their leaves, so it was definitely time. And it's quite cold. So I got in and I was actually quite aggressive and cut everything down quite low. The one that gets a bit more bushy, I might end up actually having another go at it before winter's finished because I kind of went to one level, but I think it needs to come down a little bit more because then it will hopefully bush up a little bit lower down. It kind of gets a little bit straggly and not looking so attractive once it's going. So if I can make it a bit more compact, I think that will help it to really get nice and full and green when with all the leaves, and also get nice bunches of flowers on it as well. The grass area here by the shed has been going really well, so I opened it up and let the sheep in just the other day. Their area is still quite green and they've been eating the grass. I haven't been giving them hay every day. I'm just sort of supplementing a little bit, but it's actually getting quite muddy in there, and the other area is not, because I haven't been in there and walking around, is not muddy. So just to give them a little bit of a break from their feet in terms of standing around in mud, I've now given them option of that space as well. And it's always fun to watch them the first time they sort of get into the new area. They flit around and look and check what's going on, and really enjoy having that new space. I also had a visit from Landcare this week. They're looking at doing a new project in relation to the regeneration of trees and shrubs around dams on farms. So they came and had a look at our dams, or well, 3 of our dams. I think we have 5 in total. And just to check out what they look like, what animal life was already there. We do have a lot of bird life already on the dams, as well as frogs. So now they're going to go away and look at what the potential is in terms of help, resources, trees, planting groups, that kind of thing, and then come back to us with a proposal in terms of what can be done and what we would like to be done. We don't want to be putting fences around because that reduces the amount of farming space we have. It also means that if you have livestock in that area, you then need to pump water somewhere else for them to be able to drink. And it is aesthetically not that great in terms of creating all of these non-parallel lines with the fences that you already have. And it's also quite expensive to do a lot of fencing. So I think the initial plan will be to plant trees with tree guards and not have livestock in the paddock while the trees are getting established. And then we'll probably be cutting hay for a few years and use the paddocks for that. And then once the trees are established, we'd then be able to put livestock in, and they wouldn't actually affect that planting once it's a little bit bigger. So the idea is to create shrubland, more water plants to filter the water, but also to create sort of like a corridor, sort of hopping off area for small animals and birds to give them the ability to move more freely through an area. And when farming areas are cleared and there's like not a lot of vegetation, they either get stuck in an area, or as soon as they try to move anywhere else, they have to go long distances and be at risk from predators to be able to find another suitable habitat. So it's about creating small habitats throughout the farm, and that's what we're going to be trying to do. So as I said, I went up to Creswick last weekend. The original plan was that I was going to go to Colac All Fibre and Yarn market one day, and then the Lancefield market the second day. Unfortunately, the Colac one was cancelled, but I made the most of that instead and took the day as a rest day. My mum came with me, and we spent that day just sitting around. She read, I knit. We went for quite a nice walk around the lake up there, and we had lunch out, and it was just nice to just literally do nothing and have everything prepared for the next day, and knowing that mum was there to help me in terms of, food and setup and all that. and yeah, just take the day to rest. The car packing was a little bit of a challenge because I had to make sure that I had room for mum and both of our clothes as well. So it took me probably an hour total to do like Tetrising of the car to get everything to fit in. So it was a bit of a challenge. I did manage to get it all in really nice and flat and stable and everything that I wanted, except for my mannequin, which normally sits here behind me on this side, but it's over near my desk because I was trying to pack it and I just haven't put it back in the right spot yet. She might be coming with me next weekend to some markets, so I will leave her where she is for now. My market setup on Sunday went really smoothly. I was really happy with how it looked and the ease in which I was able to put it all together. I had been really prepared and had everything packed down into specific tubs, so I knew where everything was going to go. Mum helped me bring everything in, and then she helped to put all of my market specials into bags. So I had all of these DK jumper amounts of yarn ready to sell. I do have some of those left, which I will be taking to markets this coming weekend. I am at a Tea Time Yarn Retreat market next Saturday, and I'm hoping to get into another market on the Sunday. Very last minute, but I've applied and I've just been in contact with the organisers. So if I'm successful with that, I will be at a market on Sunday, the 25th of June. If I do get into that market, I will post that on my Instagram, and I will probably put a community story here on YouTube as well. So if you're interested and you want to see me in person, there is a possibility that I will be at a market on the 25th of June. So the Landsfield All About Fibre and Yarn Market was a really great event, well organised, a nice group of vendors, a really lovely hall and plenty of space to set up and to display all of our items. There was heaters, so it was nice and warm and toasty inside, which was nice too because it was a very cold day. And there was a great group of people who came through to shop. Plenty of people that I'd seen before, so it was lovely to catch up with a lot of familiar faces, but also to meet some new people and just to talk about yarn and fibre. It's always a really great day out. So I'm really looking forward to their Romsey event later in the year, and all of my market schedule is on my website if you want to check out where I'll be. So now back to work. I need to get some restocking done. I've got some yarn soaking right now. I need to definitely dye up some Snosberries colorway. I sold out very quickly on Sunday morning. I have this shawl that sits out on the front of my display made in Snosberries, and it was just drawing people in. And so, yeah, I have to do some more of that. And then I need to look through and see what else I need to do. But for sure, that one needs to be redone. I know I have to do some more of my flower colorways as well, but because I don't have that much time before I potentially have another market, I may not get too much done, considering that it is now quite cold, and even with the fire on in here, it does take a while for the yarn to dry. I've also been busy listing some classes that are going to be held at Unwind Craft Cafe. I've got brioche classes listed for the 22nd of July and the 5th of August. The 22nd of July class is already sold out for the brioche. So if you're interested in a brioche class and you're in the Melbourne metro area, check out the Unwind Craft Cafe website, and my brioche class is listed there. I also have a sock class, toe-up sock class listed for the 22nd of July and the 5th of August as well. So I'm doing one in the morning and one in the afternoon, so you can choose which one will suit you better. There are limited spots in those now as well, so you want to get in quick if you want to do those. I will leave the links below to book directly those tickets, and it'd be great to see you there. I'd love for you to learn either brioche or socks. They're both really great skills to know and to learn, and it's just amazing to see the projects that have come out of the classes that I've done so far. It's really great to see people get really confident in their knitting and to be able to get those new skills. Today I am wearing the cowl neck poncho, which is a free pattern that I designed specifically to use one skein of my tendril lace weight yarn. This one is in the lilac colorway, It's just mostly just some increases along the side and then just using different size needles to get a nice drapey version of the cowl. And the instructions include how to do a ruffled edge and to use as much yarn as you possibly can. So that's a free pattern on my website. First, to a little bit of yarn that I bought this week. I bought 2 skeins of I've got it upside down, the Zilana Heron in I don't even know what color it is. It's not on the band. It just says shade 09. So I don't know what it is, but it's a very pretty purple with some sort of pink and blue kind of heathered look through it. I want to make myself another pair of bed socks. The ones that I've made out of Zilana before are really comfortable. They're warm, but they're not too hot, and they're nice and soft. It's made with possum as well as merino, so it's really lovely, really nice on your feet. What I'm going to do though is my heels have been wearing out because then I wear them sort of around the house as sort of like slippers as well when I get out of bed. And so what I'm going to do is I found this sock yarn in my stash, and I think I'll hold that double and do that for the heels so that it's got the nylon in it so that it gets a bit more wear from that area. I'll see how that goes. I think that might be a good way. So I want this on my feet, on my toes, but my heels don't necessarily get that cold. So I think if I use a sock yarn for that, it will be a nice combo, and I'll have some brand new bed socks, but maybe not for a little while because I've got a few things on the needles and I should probably get some of that finished. Oh, and I did make another purchase as well. I made the purchase a while ago, but I was just waiting for it to arrive. I bought the Chiagu Twist set, the shorties, in the larger tips. So these are 5.5, 6, 6.5, and 8 mil needles. So perfect for doing those chunky jumpers that are in the 52 weeks of Easy Knits, doing sleeves in particular, because it was getting a little bit tricky. I've got an Addy set, which I'm happy to use for like the round the body and everything, but having to use magic loop was quite difficult with those because the cords were a strange length. So I invested in these. I also then got they came with little connectors, which you can connect to your other cables. So they will link with my smaller cables so that I can basically convert all of my cables into these size needles. So if I end up doing more bigger projects, I might end up getting some of the thicker tips as well. But I thought this was a good little investment just to see if I'm going to do some bigger knits that I've got the flexibility to do shorter circumferences without having to muck around too much. So now it all fits inside my Chiagu pouch. So I've got my shorty set with the small tips, my shorty set with the big tips, and all of the tips on that side, and my cables on that side, and it still all fits together. So I'm really happy that it's sort of like this can come with me basically everywhere, and it's everything that I need for my knitting. Well, I've started something new this week. I'll show you my True Stripes jumper in a minute. I have made progress and I'm really happy with it. After the market on the weekend, I kept saying that I didn't have a lot of crochet samples, and I thought, you know what, I should actually do something about that. Look, I'm not a great crocheter. It doesn't really come naturally to me, and I don't do a lot of it, but it's a nice break from knitting and it's something that I can do. So what I've done is I wound down a skein of my azalea colorway. So it's white with pops of pink all the way through. And I've just started a very basic crocheted shawl. So I just started at one end with 4 chain, and I'm just going along adding 1 stitch every second row, so just doing an increase on one side so it's becoming like asymmetrical, because I thought this way I can use like all of the yarn up, or I can get to halfway and then start decreasing back again. I haven't really decided which way I want to go with it yet, but I'm loving how the pink is just like peeking through, not in any particular pattern, just popping out, and it's looking really pretty. So that's my crochet project. Last week I was on sleeve number 1 of the True Stripes jumper from the 52 weeks of Easy Knits. I have now cast on and started the second sleeve. There it is there. And here is the first sleeve finished. It took me not that long after I showed it to you last week. I was a little worried about the length, so I kind of used the clip stitch markers to connect it to the body and figure out if it was going to be right. And I think it is. In worst case, I undo the bind off and I add more on. I have marked the center here so that I can line that up with the center of the top of the shoulder so that I can sew it all in properly and it will all line up. So that is, whoops, I've got it bent over. That is sleeve number 1. And it is Old Miller Green from the Knitting Man Recommends. The purple and the light green are by Colleen's Crafts. And the yellow with the pops in it is called Mango Daiquiri by Fluff and Nonsense. And the cream is just a plain from Wangaratta Woolen Mills. So that is sleeve number 1. Sleeve number 2. I haven't done a lot of knitting this week, so that's all I really got done. And that was sort of on the Saturday while I was at Creswick. The second one will go quicker because what I did when I was doing the first one is just write down the color where the next increase happened. So I'd write down like green 1, purple 3, white 1. So now all I need to do is just look at those markers or milestones in the knitting to be able to just where each stripe starts. I just need to do the increase. So it should end up being fairly quick once I sit down and do a bit more knitting on that one. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.